All right, Facebook announced some new security changes this week. All pages will now be private unless and until you decide to make your page public. Until now, it worked the other way around. The change is meant to give you greater control over who sees your information. But new at 6 tonight, Jennifer Lukey is here with the real deal on all the other ways you're likely exposing your privacy on Facebook without even knowing it. It's the Wild West out there on the internet. You've got to be vigilant, right?
It really is. And most of us already have our pages set to private, so this really isn't a huge deal for most of us. But there are a lot of users on Facebook that do things every day. You may do them, your children may do them, that you don't realize. The site is tracking, and you're using that information regardless of how much privacy you think they have. Take a look.
Many of us are on Facebook many times a day.
Constantly. I'm always on it, whether it's on my phone or on the computer, all the time.
3 times a day, probably.
Looking at friends' information, updating our own, sharing pictures and memories. But when was the last time you actually checked your privacy settings?
I have no idea.
You don't know?
I have no idea what my security settings are.
Most people have some idea, but even if your page is set to private, there's nothing truly private about what you post. Facebook technically owns all of the photos you post, messages you send, and any ideas you create and talk about on its site.
I did not know that.
Does it make you nervous?
I mean, I guess, kind of. Don't they need some kind of permission?
It's all buried in the fine print when you agree to use Facebook.
Oh, okay.
It's just pictures of my family and stuff, you know, and the people who can see it are my friends, and if Facebook wants to look at those, okay, you know, more power to them.
But it's not always just about looking.
They can take a picture of you on a summer's day, put a headline on it, and call it an ad, and sell it. And you're now an actor or an actress.
An unpaid actor, may I add. And every time you like a page, you're giving up even more personal information.
Once you make that connection, there's additional information that the vendor knows about you, so they can target you directly, and then Facebook will know what your preferences are and send you ad copy for that.
I kind of like that as well, because I don't want them targeting me to things I'm not interested in.
That might be okay for you, but if you use your Facebook to log into other websites, you're sharing your friends' information as well.
Facebook is okay with it because they'll charge money for connecting all the data together.
I never would have thought about it if I didn't meet you today, so yeah.
Now, something else to keep in mind, anytime you take one of those Facebook quizzes, your answers are likely stored and again used to track your tendencies for marketing purposes. So, Greg, anything you put on Facebook, even if you've got that private page, it's not necessarily always private.
So you could just put down the computer or the iPhone and go outside and enjoy the day.
Right.
But in lieu of that, you have to keep checking those privacy settings, right?
Yeah, I actually did this the other day. I have a personal page and a work page, and on my personal page I went and a lot of the information was public, and I thought I've set my privacy settings long ago, but you have to keep up with it. Make sure that you're going maybe once a day even, and just making sure that those are private settings, because Facebook does a lot of changes privacy-wise. You know, they're announcing new changes all the time, so you really have to take ownership of your own pages and make sure that you're doing what you can. Obviously, like we just said, not everything is private, but do what you can.
The other advice is to seek Jen out on the street, and she'll update you constantly. Thanks.
Right.
Thanks, Jen.